I just realized something about one of the major villains in Naruto, Pain, the leader of the Akatsuki, and the fact that he should have been able to use the Susano. You know, the Susano that the Uchihas use, the ones that Sasuke, Itachi, Madara, they all use. The giant uh, figure like energy that surrounds them that can do all sorts of stuff depending on the person. And Pain, with his Renegon, he should have been able to do it. I mean, think about it. Where did Pain's Renegon come from? It came from Madara. It was Madara's eyes that he implanted onto Pain. I mean, Nagato. And you could say that, well, Nagato, because he was, the Pains were kind of like puppets that he was controlling, that maybe he couldn't do it, but used the Pain figure that was Yahiko couldn't do it. But Pain could use all the other abilities of the Renegon. I mean, there was some crazy stuff with the Renegon. The Planetary Devastation, the Almighty Push, all that stuff. And if he could do that stuff, he should have been able to use the Susano too. And if he was able to use the Susano when he was fighting Naruto, yeah, I think that fight, well, it might have ended differently. I mean, sure, Naruto still has the Nine Tails, and the Nine Tails could have might have probably been able to take down the Susano, but the Nine Tails, I don't know if the Nine Tails would have come out with its full power, considering that it was sealed inside Naruto and the seal was weakening, and it wasn't. You can't really say it was the same as Naruto's Kurama mode. But anyway, Pain should have been able to use the Susano. And the reason he didn't was either the story hadn't developed to a point where Pain's Renegon came from Madara Uchiha. Maybe the story hadn't developed that far when the Pain arc came about. But the Pain arc, the final fight between Naruto and Pain, that came quite close to the end of the war. So the story, well, the link would have probably been made by at that point. And Pain not using the Susano wouldn't make any sense. Now, the only way to justify it, I guess, is to keep the suspense of where the Susano, what the Renegon was, and if the Susano was shown, then it would have made a connection to the Uchiha, and I don't know. Maybe they would have made a connection to Madara, but I don't think so. But it is kind of a plot hole when you think about it. The fact that Pain couldn't use the Susano, he should have been able to use it. And with all the powers of the Renegon and Nagato's Uzumaki Chakra, he would have probably been able to use a full-fledged Susano, I think. Now, Itachi, Sasuke, and the others, they could only use a half type of Susano because, I don't know, maybe they need a Mangekyo Sharingan, I mean the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan to use the full Susano. But Hagoromo's son, Indra, he could use the full Susano without the Eternal Mangekyo, but I guess he's quarter Otsutsuki, so maybe that's the case. But if it's about chakra, Nagato has the chakra to do it. And Nagato should have been able to figure out, at least to use a half Susano. And because he didn't and this didn't happen, feels like a bit of a plot hole in my opinion. Now, Naruto with Nine Tails Unleashed probably could have taken him down, but without it, maybe he would have lost. So anyway, it is interesting thing about it, and it's just something I realized and I thought I'd share. So yeah, Pain with the Renegon, the Almighty Push, the Planetary Devastation stuff, and all the stuff with the dolls and the Susano. And imagine if all the puppets could also use the Susano, like Madara did with his clones and the Kage. Yeah, Pain would have almost been unstoppable at that point. So I guess maybe it's to make sure that he wasn't OP'd and if he was too OP, then Madara would have felt a little underwhelming. So maybe that's the case. But anyway, that's what I think.